All right. Hello, Internet. My name is Xander, and I am a student at Dallas College, wrapping up my final semester. For a lot of you, you may not know what you want to do in college, or you may not want to go to college. I was certainly that way myself. I never saw myself going to college, much less getting a degree and graduating. So the fact that I'm almost done and have a degree and have more of a plan for what I want to do is hugely exciting. And I'm here to share with you some of the resources that you're going to be expected to have and some of the stuff that you're going to need. So, starting off, I'm going to go with hardware, which is like your computer or your uh, like yeah, we'll go with computer. I am currently running on a very expensive computer because I needed it to handle this program right here called Houdini. Oh, okay. We will save that for a little bit. Which is a special effects um which is a special effects program designed to help make you show you how to do certain like the making buildings explode, for example, different visual effects that you're gonna see. Explosions. I think I did one with water. Um, so all of these different things are gonna help you. So what you're gonna need is a computer that can run these programs. Um, I think I bought a $400 computer maybe a year ago. That was able to run everything. It didn't run particularly well, but it was able to run just about everything I needed it to. And that's one of those things that you're gonna need to have. Is a computer that can, if you have a MacBook or an Apple computer in general, I don't necessarily know if you're going to be able to run everything that this degree is going to require you to run. Um, the next bit of hardware I'm going to say you're going to need is a flash drive or something that you're able to store your document or your information on and take it to and from campus. Or a Dropbox, or like digital cloud storage. You're gonna need that, um, because of to transfer files and do other stuff. Some professors may actually ask you to turn in your work, and to do that, you may have to physically turn it in, which is what I had to do for one of my classes. And so at the time, I was working on a Mac, and he was also showing stuff on a Mac. So I was really glad to have a Mac at that time. However, cloud storage doesn't mean you have to worry about that. So kind of pick your poison with that one. Um, the next bit of hardware, this one's a little bit more optional, but I do recommend you find one. Is a drawing tablet of some kind. I spent a lot of time during my first year, 2 semesters, something like that, as a 2D artist. So I spent a lot of time drawing, and shockingly enough, when the world shuts down, it all needs to be digital. So it's easier to draw directly into a program like Photoshop or something else like that with a tablet. And this is only if you have a computer. If you have like an iPad or something that you're able to draw on, that's perfectly fine. This is something similar to get what I have. I think this one right up here this is the actual one I have. It's $30, and I think when I got it, it was on sale for a little bit less. So I think I paid like $20 or $25, something like that. Um, it doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be great. You just need to have it just in case, because it is helpful. I still use it a little bit to this day, and I suspect going along my journey, I will be needing it more. So, something to keep in mind for hardware, again, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be functional. And if you have an iPad, all the better. It's better than this. So, that's all the hardware. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about real quick the software that you're going to need. So one, you are going to need Photoshop. For whatever reason, I've had classes where I thought, oh, I'm never going to need Photoshop. Needed Photoshop. You're actually going to need the entire Adobe suite. I unfortunately don't know if using your class or your school email address will get you free the free Adobe software. But the entire Adobe Creative Cloud is useful to have if you can afford it, or that actually brings up another good point. Most of the campuses are going to have a computer lab. Personally, I found the one at Richland to be very helpful because it had people who knew what they were doing and were able to help me, and it had a bunch of different computers to help you with what you're doing. If you go to the campus, it might make you sign in, but for the most part, you should be able to use everything in the all the software I'm about to list off without having to purchase it yourself. So please be aware of that. Please check your local campus or the closest campus to you. Literally all you need is your student ID number, or not your ID number, your student ID, like the physical card that they're gonna get you. I recommend having that just because it's they need it to make sure that you're an actual student and not. But please check your campus. The people there are usually super helpful and super nice, and the computers are going to be what you need. So please check your local campus. If you're close enough, please go to the Richland campus. I know that there are quite a few teachers and students there who are more than capable and more than willing to help you if you find yourself struggling, and you will have access to some of the better computers. Okay, so that is the Adobe stuff. I'm going to move on to some of the other stuff that you're going to get just because of the college, and it'll be mostly free. You're going to want Microsoft Office. You're going to be doing a lot of writing. My degree, I think I had to take one writing class, but specifically, I've had multiple classes ask that I turn in a written document for various things. I wish I had something better for you, but you're gonna need this. Next is gonna be the Teams. I used Teams for quite a few of my semesters and for quite a few classes. It kind of depends on the teacher, but some teachers will use Teams because you're getting it for free and you can use it. And there's some nice features it has over the next program I'm going to go over. But this is mainly how I communicate. I did not communicate through email or really anything. I communicated mainly through like Teams. That includes talking with other students and my professors. I communicated mainly through Teams. However, there is one other program that I recommend that you have an account with. It's completely free, but it's called Discord. You may have heard of it, you may not have. Discord is a kind of all-in-one app. It's a phone call service, it's a texting service, it's a Zoom-like service where you can show your face and you can also show what's going on screen. There's a couple of features that it doesn't have that Microsoft Teams has, so you're going to have to kind of pay attention to your professors, but I recommend you have an account with this because a lot of teachers will use this. This server right here is actually one of my classes. This is my rigging spring 2022 class. And this is where my teacher has all of our meetings. So we all jump into a Discord call together. We talk, and then the teacher will stream his screen, or we'll talk, and it is one of the easier ones to focus. And from what I have gathered, there actually isn't a lot of ways, unless you're following like specific creators online, to get into other discords, or at least or at least that I found. So you're going to be pretty well protected depending on if you join other discords. But if you stick with your teachers ones, you'll be fine. Your usernames are changeable. There's a lot of really cool features, but have it just in case. Some teachers use it, some teachers don't. I had one teacher who used Skype. I've literally never used Skype since that one. So that is the Discord. Okay, now back onto programs you're gonna need. Maya is one I have been able to not need a ton of, but it is industry standard, like in the game and in the film industry actually. Maya is the standard. You need to know how to use Maya. Every job listing I have found has asked for Maya. Do you know Maya? I'm not as familiar with it as I should be. However, Maya is not free. You do get a free year of it with your student ID. You do need to provide a thing that says I am enrolled at X school, or at the college. You could probably use your class receipt for whatever semester. As long as it has your name on it, you'll be good. You may be asked to submit your an ID. I do not remember off the top of my head. I do feel like you may have to do that, but for the most part, as long as you're enrolled at the school, they're going to give you a student version, which, as far as I can tell, is still up to the main version. You just won't have to pay for it for a year. However, that being said, this is a program called Blender. Blender is a 3D modeling program, and it does very similar things to what Maya does, but it's not the industry standard. It's very quickly becoming something that companies seem to be looking for or are willing to work with. It's free, and there's quite a few things that you can learn on it that are transferable over to the other program, Maya. I've learned about a couple of different things in Blender, and then have gone over to Maya and been like, oh, I know what this is, or I know what to call this. Or, oh, okay, I understand what this is, and all that. So you can learn Blender and have a grasp of Maya. However, they are two different programs, and you will need to learn Maya if you continue to be in the gaming or film industry, just simply because they do require that you use Maya, or you have knowledge of Maya. So those are your alternatives. One program that I recommend you have, you don't need it, but something that is helpful for capturing screenshots or videos, and is actually how I'm recording this one, is OBS. I do not, off the top of my head, remember what it stands for, but basically it's just a capture. It's a program that lets you record your screen. You can set it up to record different screens. I have two monitors, so I have one display and I have two display. That's what this is. And I have a mic. Oh, that is actually something that having a decent mic will be helpful. You can use your headset, or if you're a gamer, you can use your gaming headset. That should be okay. I, however, am using a Blue Yeti microphone, which I believe is $100 off of Amazon. Yeah, I believe it's $100. It helps you sound clear, and it's you're able to get a much more clear audio. My mic is sitting about a foot away from me, and you can hear me very clearly. So that is one piece of hardware I recommend. You don't need it. This one is completely optional. This is just personal experience with what I did and what I ended up using, but that is what I recommend. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next couple of things that that I'm going to talk about. One, YouTube. Please, for the love of God, have a YouTube channel and know how to use YouTube. You are going to be needing to look things up. Your teachers can provide answers, but sometimes what you're going to run into is a very specific problem. And if you're anything like me, where you don't like necessarily asking people for help, you're going to want to know how to look things up and search through the results and find what you're looking for. A lot of that comes down to watching YouTube videos that aren't great, that aren't what you're looking for, but you're going to learn the vocabulary for different programs. For me, it was Blender and now Maya. And you're going to learn what you need to type in to get what you're looking for. Like now when I type something in, it's very specific. Like, how do I move a vertex? If you know what that is, congrats. However, if you are doing 3D for Blender, this channel right here, Dane Sugya, is a professor at, I believe, North Lake College campus. He is the one who taught me how to use Blender and got me interested in 3D modeling. And he is still posting to this day, and all of his stuff is here. If we go down here just a little bit further, these three parts right here, there's no talking in them, unfortunately, but this was my final project for his class, and one of his TAs went and made videos that I could follow to finish out my my final. There were a couple of things that I struggled with. I reached out, I just couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't. So it didn't go quite as in the way the video is. But he has lots of tutorials here on how to do certain things, or learning the basics, how to get started, what X, Y, and Z are. So just learn. So this guy is really good. This guy will teach you how to use Blender, and to a degree, when you switch over to Maya, you'll be able to understand quite a bit more than if you just went into Maya, because Maya can be very scary in and of itself. So please use YouTube. Please use Google. They are your best friends. If you don't know, if you don't know nobody you know has an answer to your question, go look it up. Nobody's gonna fault you. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I spent a lot of time on YouTube. All right. Now, if you're going to be an artist, whether that be a 2D, a 3D, whatever, you're going to need something to show off your work. That's where this comes in. This is my profile on the website called ArtStation. If you're an animator, there are a couple of different ones, but you should have an account with this one, and generally just kind of understand how this one works, and always have your work. This is not necessarily my best work. I need to redo some of these or take them down and get new ones. But this is work that I have done. This was one of my most complicated pieces, and it is one that I have spent quite a long time. I spent quite a long time working on this one. And but always have a place to show off your work to people. ArtStation is great because you can download the app, and then all of a sudden you've got a way to show off your profile no matter where you are. You can show them your work. You can show off like say you're at a event and you're talking with a person and they're like, oh yeah, no, I work at XY place, and you'll or you mention like, hey, I do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh cool, do you have any of your work that I can see? And you're like, yeah, okay, here, let me pull it up on my phone. Boom. You've either got a connection or you've got somebody who can get you into that world. So always have a place to easily display your work. I don't think I went over this. One last software that you're going to absolutely need, because it's going to be required for at least one of your classes. I guarantee you're going to need this for at least one. The Unreal Engine. And this is, again, why you need a beefy computer. Unreal takes a lot of processing power. The files can get kind of big. It really kind of just depends on how all that turns out, on how everything for what you're doing for that class turns out. So always have something like, so you're going to need the Epic store, which is going to require you to have, yet again, another account. Again, free. And then Unreal is also free, and you're going to need it to do classwork. I think about 3 of my classes, I had to work with an entire team, which was all the other students, to build a game. And this is what we built it in. It's less finicky than some of the other programs like Unity. You don't need very specific things. This is one of the easier ones to understand. And if you know coding, this will be one of your easier types, because it'll be one of your easier codings, because it'll just be, you won't have to write your code down. You'll be able to use, what is it called? I'm going to call it chain coding. But yeah, for the most part, those are the programs that you're gonna need for getting into it, or getting into this degree, and getting into this area of work and everything else. That's everything you are going to need for your classes, to succeed in those classes, and to succeed in graduating and possibly figuring out what you want to do as a career. So thank you for your time, and have a good day.